MR2 familiar. So this is just Seidel. We're still locked down on this COVID thing, so in the interest of promoting more homemade videos and YouTube videos with MR2s, so I thought, why not? Nice sunny day. I've had this cordless camera for some time. I ain't gonna lie, the wing makes it a bit tricky to see out back. Okay, there you go, I've admitted it. But, though I can see traffic underneath it, but it's for reversing, you know, getting into tight spaces. I don't want to be scraping the sides and stuff, so I did make a mistake. I put my hands up. I got one that was wired, and I had a hell of a time trying to thread a wire through behind this skin here up to the front. Nightmare. And then some clever dick on Facebook said, "We'll get a cordless one." I'm like, so I got a cordless one. Okay, so what I've done, I've gone ahead and drilled and fitted the camera because you don't need a how-to on how to drill a hole and stick a wire through it. I was going to opt for up here, but I don't want to spoil this piece. I might even take the logo off at some point. But here I feel it's good for reversing. It's going to give me a nice range. I'm not going to have anything shielded by the bumper, so this is a nice clear view. I drilled a little hole through the bottom of the Tom's bumper. I've got my plug there, and I feed this up through the back, take this panel off, connect the wire into the receiver. That's what we will, well, it's the transmitter, beg your pardon. This is going to provide the live for the camera. On the other end, you'll see it's got a little antenna. So on the other end, the receiver with the antenna does actually say receiver on it, so you'll get them the right way around. We'll plug that into the back of the head unit, find a power source, and we should be able to see from the back. At this point in the video, I'm going to admit I've not planned it, just winging it, because this is about the amateurs as well as the pros, and I want to encourage people to make little videos and not be afraid to mess up or stutter or whatever. So yeah, we're going to fit this all together. I don't know whether to take the live feed for the camera from the reverse lights. That's very easy. Just the positive of the reverse lights only goes live in reverse. That will make the camera live, so when I reverse, the camera comes on, we can see what we're doing. But there's a little child in me that keeps thinking, wouldn't it be nice if you're driving along and you can see behind you a bit better, you know, see who you're blasting. So I'm a bit undecided at this point, but we'll wing it, see how we go. Main thing is get this up in here, the transmitter wired up. We'll see about a live, permanent live, or a live of the reversing lights, and we'll get it on. Okay, so first things first, we pop the boot. The centre panel's dead easy. One screw there, one screw there. You may recall from the kooky light video that I made, we took the side lights out quite easily, but we didn't have to touch this centre panel. So there we go. Keep your screws safe, put them in order. I happen to have my inner blinds here, so pop my screws on there. Right, this is pretty easy. Just pull it forward from under the rubber, and it will just unclip. Yeah, watch your paint. Might be an idea, just twist out your reverse lights. There we have it. So if you don't know, that's what it looks like inside. Two clips, clip in, two screws, retain it. Your whole backlight assembly is just held in with two bolts. You could take that off, do what you want, if you want to tint these or whatever. So that goes in the back, nice and safe. So the plan is now, we have a camera in, we've got to feed this up through the back. I'm going to bring it up into here. This space has a couple of divots where we can run a light, where we can run a reverse light feed if we want to. In which case that's quite easy because these are the reverse lights. So we can just put a positive off a positive of one of these. So when we go in reverse, these go live, lights come on, camera starts up. And I don't know if my head unit actually automatically switches over, but we can select that, so that's alright. It's probably an AV alternative. Just inspecting my bulbs, they look good. A little bit blackened, but they do seem to be whole. So let's get on. So okay, I'm back. I've put a jumper on because the clouds keep covering up the sun. So you can see what I've done. This light that comes this way, I've cut into both wires, spliced the positive and negative in. The green wire with the white stripe, that's your positive, just so you know. You'll know for sure because it goes in the centre of the bulb's always the positive. The white one with the stripe is your negative. And as you can see, we have a blue light on our transmitter. So we know this is going to work, so I can take this up, get it all in tidy. I'm just going to pause you for a minute. Oh, in fact, we have little white lights on the camera, so that's encouraging. Okay, me again. The sun is still hiding and playing hide and seek. So I've taped this up really good. Like in other videos, I do tend to use the little screw type connectors. Certainly do not use the ones that you clamp down with a pair of pliers. They are rubbish. Your best way, honestly, is to solder these wires and tape them up good. I don't have solder, and during COVID I can't really go anywhere to get any, so I'm doing this for now. At a later date I'll solder these properly. So I tuck my wiring out the way, got my receiver in there. I'm just going to clip this in, lift our rubber, and we're in place, nice and hidden. So screws, one here and one here. And we're sweet as a nut. So we've got a camera down here under the number plate. Just for a point of interest, this strip here, when I did my video for the kooky light conversion, I got quite a few questions about the inner two being fog lights in some countries. In the UK at least, as long as you have a fog light on the back, it doesn't have to be built in. A lot of people just have a big bulky square one stuck under. It's a bit ugly. It's alright, like on my van, which I've got that. But this here is a LED strip light. It's an extremely bright red strip light. Works very well as a fog light. But this particular one also has white light built into it, so I could also wire this in so that when my back lights come on, the strip light will light up. It will white up behind you, which is really good. Okay, so to the front bit. Okay, so we've got the back all hooked up. When we put it in reverse, the backlights light up. This sends a feed to the camera will light up. So when we go in reverse, reverse camera comes on. So we're at this end now. So we've got this little unit that comes with it, got a little antenna to pick up the signal from the rear. Just make sure it does say receiver, otherwise you've wired the wrong way around. The yellow one is going to be a video input to your head unit. Excuse me. Or COVID. Oh. So this end we just need a positive and a negative for the transceiver, the receiver, yes. Okay, so here we are inside, and we need to remove your dead pull if you're cool enough to have a dead pull. Lift out your ashtray. This is in really good nick. never used for a cigarette light, cigarette ashtray. Thanks to Mr. Jeff Trump, gave me a beautiful one. I know you American familiar are envious of this. This is $1,000 to you, shipped. Anyway, so we need this main cover off here so that we can get the head unit out. Phillips screwdriver, somewhere here. You'll find 2 screws in there. There's one. Be careful not to drop it inside. A little bit fiddly with my big fingers. Okay, there we go, I have it. I'm going to put them in the cigarette lighter. Oh, got some goodies in there already. And this one. Right, now I believe if I pull this up, this will also pop out. A bit of a twisty, and we can get that out. I'm going to leave my gear stick on and just put it in a gear out of the way. Okay. For those of you who were fitting these stitched boots on your gear lever, somebody mentioned it the other day. You do have to glue it. Fold it round and put a few spots of glue underneath. I just put a few spots here and there. It holds really well. It's been on there for some time, but at some point if you want to change it, it's easy to pull it off if you haven't glued the whole damn thing together. So we have this bit, just a gentle tug should release most of this. Separate it from that. There we go. So did you see that? There's a pop just here, the rest just pops out and it will come to you. I have this multi-gauge in here, so I think the wiring is a little bit short. I need to see up in there. What do we have? Okay, I just really want this out the way. I'm not going to hurt that, that's fine. Okay, so behind the hazard light switch, you have a little snap connector there. If I can get it off. Okay, there we go, there's your plug for that. And I'm not going to be able to undo this fully, so I'm just going to pop this out the way. Somewhere over here, like so. Now I can get to my head unit. 2 screws on each side. Oh, I seem to have one missing. So let's get in there. That's one. That's one. These are like little hex bolts, if you can see that. So you're not going to mix them up with the other ones. One there. And one here. So now our head unit should come free. I say should. We appear to have some wiring that's stopping it coming out. I'm just going to pop you on pause while I sort out why this wire isn't coming out. Something's snagged. Okay, a little bit messy here. Well, it looks messier than it is. I couldn't get the unit free enough, forward enough to press that and undo the speaker wires from the unit, so I just dropped out the HVAC, which is basically 4 screws, and it came free. Oh, actually, before you can drop that out, the ashtray bit fits under here, has 1 screw there. Undo these 2 metal screws, 2 screws for that, and you can get to this one and lift this out. This will pop in back after, it's not a problem. So looking on here, I see rear view camera, which is awesome because this is the one that we want. Has a little bit of a condom on it, we won't need that. So now the not the transformer, I keep saying transformer, the wireless receiver is going to plug in there. So all we need now is a live feed and a neutral or negative. So positive and negative, oops, on there, which I shall find in here somewhere, and I shall come right back once I've found something we can come off. You could perhaps go off your cigarette lighter, but actually I've already had my cigarette lighter removed and had this multi touchscreen gauge put in, but I dare say we could probably take a live and a neutral off here. So I'll have a little investigate and I'll come right back as soon as I know what I'm doing. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so I've gone ahead and wired this into my cigarette light, the old cigarette lighter, positive and negative. As I explained, I have this touchscreen multi-gauge, so I did a cigarette lighter delete, or rather Jeff Trump did actually. So I've come off the same wires back there. Because I've deleted my cigarette lighter, I've actually run a bit of wire, because the intention is, while I've got this apart, I'm going to feed this through and put like a double USB socket thing in. I'm going to figure that out a little bit later. Whoops, good shot. So that's all come off the old cigarette lighter. For the sake of going back to OEM one day, I've kept it, it's there. But this gives me the power for my gauge, it gives me power for my reversing light camera, and if I pop a key in and turn it on, you might just see that we have a red light there. So I'm very confident that we have a light on the back, we have a light on the receiver, so there's every chance this is going to work. Okay, so while I paused, this is looking a little bit messy, I know. This particular wire is for another little idea of mine. I've got a positive and a negative coming off the old cigarette lighter. I'm going to put this through and add a USB thing a little bit later, but I'll take care of that soon. I just thought I'd wire it in while I'm here. Somewhere here, the receiver for the rear camera is plugged in to the rear view camera socket. The positive and negative are threaded through to the cigarette lighter, along with this auxiliary that I'm going to use later. So they're wired in. Like I said, I've had a cigarette lighter delete because I have a touchscreen multi-gauge here for when I put the link ECU in. It's tidier, I like that. So really, I've put my HVAC back in, it just slots in 4 screws. I just dropped it a little bit because I was having trouble getting the speaker cable off, which is down in here. I've tried to free it up a little bit. It's all very fiddly in here. I'm just going to pause for a minute because I found my GPS, and somewhere I read that the GPS module, a little square box, needs to be mounted on part of the metal frame. I was trying to glue it, it's not really working, so I'm going to pause you for a minute, pop off, get a sticky pad so I can stick that out of the way. Then basically we're going to slot the head unit back in and just give it a test before we do everything up. Don't forget to put your aerial in. I've got my normal aerial in. This socket here goes on there. It's actually for DAB, digital radio. I have a splitter because being a 90s car, I do love electric aerials. I've fixed mine about 3 times now. I did put a video on YouTube how to fix your antenna. That one's a bit long-winded. I'm getting a bit better at these videos. So we mustn't forget to connect everything. Whoosh! Somebody passing in a Corsa, all kitted. Big gay wing on the back, nice. Anyway, so I'm going to pause you for a minute because I need to stick this noisy bugger. I need to stick this GPS module in out of the way before we put that in. So I'm going to go find some kind of sticky pad and I'll be back to you in a minute. So main thing is make sure everything's tidy out of the way so your head unit can go back in. Get all your wires uncrossed and everything. I'm going to pop this receiver in the back there out of the way. Tuck it up in there. I don't think it really needs to be fixed as long as it's just sat in there and not moving about. Don't forget to plug in your aerials of all kinds. So I'll put my DAB one in, the other one's in, because the antenna is the one you're likely to forget to put back in. Now we need our main socket. I just want to make sure it's not tangled up. Give it as much room as it can have, because when you want to take your head unit out you might have the trouble I had where it won't come out enough to undo it. So if I can see where that goes, yes, I think we're plugged in, and with a bit of luck everything will sit in nicely. So menu, camera, there we go. A little bit fuzzy. I wonder if my phone is interfering with it maybe. Can't vouch for the quality of these things, but that's dead handy. Dead handy. I can adjust the area that shows red, yellow or green, like distance. If I take this out of reverse, camera goes off. Into reverse, camera back on, which is pretty cool. I'd quite like to put a permanent feed at some point back to there. Well, not permanent, that works off the ignition. Because, I don't know, that's quite cool. If I'm bored of listening to music, I could be driving along, see what's behind me. It's like a better rear view mirror, really. So I'll take care of that at some stage. Maybe even put it on a switch or something. But that's cool. So I can reverse up to stuff now. And be safe in the knowledge I'm not going to scratch the two. Awesome. Okay, so everything off. I'm just going to double check all my wires are tucked in tidy. Everything looks alright in there. I've stuck my receiver to the side here with a bit of grip fill again. That'll go off in time. So, yep. Head unit back in place. Let's get our screws. Oh, there's always something goes down the edge of the seat. Okay, luckily it's not a screw I need. We'll keep that one for in a minute. So I happen to only have 3 screws holding the head unit in. So let's get these popped in. As I mentioned in a different video, it's always worth magnetising your screwdriver. It's a pretty handy tip. Just get a magnet or the back of an old speaker, just rub it back and forth on the screwdriver. Then when it's magnetised, your screws should stay on like that. This one won't because it's not magnetised, but that makes it dead handy for, well, you don't want to do that. Makes it dead handy for just getting your screws into the right position. like so. Yep. So this on next. Put these wires in, out the way. Oh, I should have left that out a minute. Wires will all pop in there, okay, yep. Do that one up. Okay, and our ashtray just pops back in, so we're pretty much all back together. Okay, so a little test now. I've put everything back together. I think it's menu, camera. If I put it in reverse, there we have it. Now I can see behind me. I can adjust these guidelines in the menu. But that's cool, so I know just how close to get to people. It really helps if you've got a great big rear wing like mine. I don't have a lot of vision out the back, if I'm honest, but you know, these things are sent to try us. So there we go, that's it. It's relatively straightforward. If you're used to wiring up speakers or something, you're not going to have a problem with this. So yeah, just to recap, the rear camera is bolted on. I drilled a hole in the back bumper to put it in. I've wired the positive and negative for this, for the sender for that, from the reverse lights, so that when I put it in reverse, that's going to activate the back camera. Then I just need to go menu, camera, camera's there. The receiver end, this end, I just wired in to a positive and negative. I mean, you could take that from your stereo, you could take that from your cigarette lighter. There's a few places. If in doubt, get in touch with the groups, because people can help you out. But that's a nice steady picture. That will help me out immensely when I'm backing up into my tent or into a tight space. So sorry if this rambled on a bit. I will try and cut it down, and I hope that that's of some use, even if it's just how to get this off and this off. I'll pause, figure out where I'm going to put this cigarette, it's not a cigarette charger, this phone charger USB thing. I'd like to put it in the center there, that'd be pretty cool, but we've got this metal bar there, so I'm going to have a little think about that, and I'll come back in a bit and show you what I did with it. Okay, catch you on. Okay, so I popped everything back in. In the meantime, not really part of this video, but since I was wiring up the positive and negative for the receiver for the wireless camera on the back, so I'd wired it off the I got a touchscreen gauge that deleted my cigarette lighter. So I've just come off the back of the wires for the old cigarette lighter, just tapped into the multi gauge. That was for the receiver for the rear view camera. But what I did is, you would have seen on the video, I also ran another spare wire, power lead, positive and negative, from there while it was all out, because I did want somewhere to plug in my phone. Because I've deleted the cigarette lighter, I've actually put, right here, I've put a double USB socket. It's actually a high power one and a normal one, but anyway, regardless of that, what I actually did is I had one of these from the garage. They're about £6-7 quid. It's a plug-in, it's a double plug-in phone charger thing. Okay, so what I've done is I unscrewed the bottom, got a knife in there and split it apart, took the top off, and I've used the guts of it, cut a little hole, I've used the guts of it and popped it in here. That positive and negative that I had, that I told you about, I've put to it, soldered them all on. So now I think is it 1 amp and 2 amp. 2 amp is the higher charging rate, like for tablets and stuff. I know which is which anyway, but it doesn't really matter. So just for tidy's sake, I've stuck it in there. I can plug my USB cable in. It'll even reach to put the phone hidden away if I want to. So getting back to it, there's my camera. When I put it in reverse, bingo bango. Oh, a little bit of interference there. I had this earlier, I think it's actually my phone. Yeah, take the phone away. If the phone's on charge here, no, we're all good. We're all good. So yeah, now I can see behind me and know exactly where I'm at without hitting the car. I've got my double USB charge in here. I just put a little bit of grip fill on the back of it. DIY guys will know what grip fill is. It's like a mastic, but it sticks stuff. So a little dollop of that on the back. Come tomorrow, that will have gone off and be rock hard, and we're good to go. So it just remains to put Deadpool back. Yep. And I can still plug in my phones. So we're all good. Sorry if I waffled a bit, sorry if I made a mistake or two. I'll be honest with you, I don't mind that I make an odd mistake. I don't mind that because it's encouraging others to like have a go. Do you know what I mean? And video it. What little thing you might encounter that's messed you up, you catch it on camera, you put it right, you tell people how you put it right. That's one thing you don't normally get in professional how-tos. They'll miss all that bit where they cocked up, do it all off camera, come back and say, oh, there we go, it's all fixed. It doesn't really help. So a good, straightforward, honest to goodness, winging it kind of day today. Put a cordless camera on the back with its transmitter, receiver in the front, wired that up to the old power positive and negative of the cigarette lighter, which is now deleted for this gauge. I ran an extra little wire to do this while I was at it, but like I say, at the very least, if my video just shows you how to get this cover off, you know, or how to pop that out or whatever, then it's done its job, hasn't it? Get rid of all that crap. But yeah, no, I'm pretty pleased with that. So into reverse, and I have a reverse camera. Brilliant. So I hope it was of some help to you. Like I say, sorry if it was a little bit amateur, sorry if there's a bit of messing about. I'll edit it best I can and get this up in the groups. So anyway, please upload your videos. I don't care if you do it with a phone, I don't care if you've got an old wind up Victorian thing. Let's see your cars, let's see what you're doing. It's all helping each other. Post them up in the MR2 videos group and people can look back, you know. It's going to help people. So anyway, waffled on enough now. So viva familia, peace out, and I'll catch you later.